so much for coming. As you know, Singapore is one of the world's most diverse, religiously diverse society. There are differences in our communities, but we shouldn't amplify these differences. Once the differences get amplified, I think there will be some potential tensions within communities and between groups. We've seen that in history before. Way back in 1854, we see how the Teochew and Hokkien riots took place, how in 1964, 1969, there were riots also. So our forefathers understood the meaning behind minimizing differences, extracting social cohesion, bringing people together, and we are committed to doing that. However, it worries me when we are seeing a little bit of some of these things being undermined with perhaps different perceptions that people have. Part of it also, I think, is because of the current situation we're facing, the local and global news on extremism, terrorism, somewhat related to Islam and the Muslim community. We see some of these elements of Islamophobia coming into the picture. And recently I heard a very worrying incident that happened. One Malay pest controller was visiting a home of a complainant about a mosquito situation. So he was just checking the outside of the house first, and then the resident came out, and when the resident saw him, what she said was, she just started shouting at him, asking to go away. And he tried to explain that he was just trying to do his job. And her expression was that, oh no, I hear so much about terrorism, and there's so much things about terrorists, you better go. I must be aware of who is around me. So that suggesting that you are a terrorist and you should go away, I think it really saddened me and shocked me when I hear such an incident happening in Singapore. First of all, I think we must reject any of these views. As we do reject views of radicalism, as we reject extremism, as we reject exclusivism, there's no place for Islamophobia in Singapore or any form of phobia in relation to religion, because we can't afford to divide society. And any society that's divided will have difficulties moving forward. And we look at what's happening around here. The last thing we want is incidents like this, where the inter-ethnic cohesion that we have built for so long leading to be divided by people who have wrong ideas and wrong understanding of the Muslim community. So I think if we look at it in context, the Muslim community has done much as part of Singapore's development. They've worked as hard as the other communities. They have bled for the community. Recently, you see the incident of the traffic policeman, the late Nasri Martin, who passed away during while on duty. So they've done much, but I think they should continue to do more. You see, during Ramadan, for example, all the mosques open their doors to have iftars, inviting non-Muslim communities to come together. We hope that they continue to do so for Hari Raya, opening their doors for neighbors to come together. But while we talk about what the Muslim community has done so far in building up the social cohesion, we also hope the non-Muslim community respond by assuring the Muslim community also, rather than having misperceptions. If they have misperceptions, please come forward and also seek clarification so that Islamophobia does not take root in our Singapore society. I also want to say that the Muslim community must do more. They must take this issue of extremism and own this issue. And they have been doing so. You see Azatizas coming forward through the RRG work. At the same time, the ARS is another positive effort to show that they're taking ownership, they're making sure that we know who is preaching our Muslim community. We must make sure that we know what is being taught in our madrasas, in our mosques, and even today we begin to look at how important it is for them to be in social media space also, to understand, because much of the radicalism is in social media. So there's much that needs to be done. I think what we also need to do is begin to look at the importance of encouraging Singaporeans to continue to build good relations with their neighbors, to build trust, to deepen that trust. So today you see the examples of how we see low-income families in my constituency, for example, being supported and helped not just by the Muslim grassroots leaders and fellow neighbours, but also by non-Muslim grassroots leaders. And I think we must continue to do so, deepen that trust on a daily basis, so that if something happens, you are not shaken, you are not easily rattled, and our social fabric will not be easily undermined. So I think that's one of the things that we ought to continue to work towards, making sure that we reject any forms of Islamophobia, as we do reject any forms of radicalism and extremism.